The Power Within: Lessons from the Life of Joseph. Life often presents us with challenges that can leave us feeling disheartened, broken, and questioning our purpose. Yet these very struggles can become stepping stones to a greater destiny. This truth comes alive in the remarkable story of Joseph, a man of unwavering faith, resilience, integrity, and forgiveness. Joseph's journey, as recorded in the Bible, is a profound reminder that God's purpose prevails even in the darkest moments of our lives. Betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, and later falsely imprisoned, Joseph had every reason to give up. Yet, through his steadfast faith and character, he rose to a position of great influence and fulfilled the plan God had for him. In this video, we'll explore the life of Joseph and uncover the lessons his story offers to us as believers. How can we grow in faith during trials? How can we maintain our integrity under pressure? And how can we learn to let go through forgiveness? Joseph's story provides the answers, inviting us to trust in God's plan and discover the power within ourselves to overcome life's greatest challenges. Joseph was the beloved son of Jacob, born to him in his old age and from the wife he deeply loved, Rachel. This special affection led Jacob to gift Joseph a coat of many colors, a symbol of favor and uniqueness. But with favor often comes envy. Joseph's siblings were consumed by jealousy. Adding to their bitterness were Joseph's dreams. In one dream, Joseph saw sheaves of grain bowing down to his sheaf. In another, the stars, moon, and sun bowed before him. These vivid dreams symbolized a future where Joseph would rise to a position of authority, but instead of rejoicing with him, his brothers rejected the idea. This part of Joseph's story teaches us a vital lesson. When God places a calling on your life, there will be opposition. Sometimes even those closest to you may not understand your journey. But just like Joseph, we must hold on to God's promises despite the resistance around us. Blinded by jealousy, Joseph's brothers plotted against him. They threw him into a pit and later sold him into slavery to passing traders. Their betrayal was an unimaginable blow. Joseph, once the favored son, now found himself shackled, marching toward an uncertain future in Egypt. What can we learn here? Life is not always fair. There will be moments when we feel abandoned or betrayed, even by those we trust most. But Joseph's story reminds us that God is still present in our darkest seasons. What others mean for harm, God can use for good. Joseph could have despaired, but instead he clung to his faith. He trusted that despite the betrayal, God would not abandon him. And the same is true for us. When faced with life's betrayals, we must remember that God walks with us, even through the valleys of devastation. Arriving in Egypt, Joseph was sold to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh. Though a slave, Joseph carried himself with excellence. His faith in God remained unshaken, and his efforts didn't go unnoticed. Potiphar entrusted Joseph with overseeing his household, and the Lord blessed everything Joseph touched. However, trials came again. Potiphar's wife falsely accused Joseph of trying to harm her after he refused her repeated advances. Despite his innocence, Joseph was thrown into prison. This portion of Joseph's journey teaches us about faith in trials. It would have been easy for Joseph to become bitter or lose hope, but he remained steadfast. His circumstances didn't dictate his attitude, and he continued to trust in God's plan. Believers, when life throws us into situations we don't deserve, let us draw strength from Joseph's example. Even when things don't make sense, we must have faith that God is working everything for our good. Joseph's interaction with Potiphar's wife was a critical moment in his story. Though her advances were persistent, Joseph held firm to his values and refused to betray Potiphar's trust or sin against God. He knew that true integrity meant doing the right thing even when no one was watching, and even when doing so came with great personal cost. Integrity is one of the most powerful lessons we can learn from Joseph's life. In today's world, where compromise is often rewarded, maintaining biblical principles can feel challenging. But Joseph's story teaches us that even when integrity comes with a price, God honors those who are faithful to his word. Let us, like Joseph, stand firm in moments of temptation and honor God above all else. True integrity sustains us and pleases the Lord, even when the world doesn't seem to reward it. Thrown into prison for a crime he didn't commit, Joseph could have easily given in to despair. Yet even in the bleakness of a prison cell, he continued to demonstrate faithfulness and resilience. Joseph began serving others in prison, and his ability to interpret dreams brought him favor once again. He correctly interpreted the dreams of Pharaoh's servants, which eventually led to his release from prison. Through it all, Joseph trusted God and refused to give up hope. This chapter of Joseph's life is a reminder to us all. Resilience is key to overcoming life's challenges. When faced with setbacks, we must remember that God's timing is perfect. Even when we don't understand why we're in a particular season, we can trust that God is preparing us for what's ahead. After years in prison, Joseph was brought before Pharaoh to interpret his troubling dreams. With God's wisdom, Joseph revealed that a great famine was coming after 7 years of abundance. Impressed by Joseph's character and insight, Pharaoh elevated him to the position of second in command over all of Egypt. This moment marked the beginning of Joseph's purpose being fulfilled. It was not an accident, it was a divine plan unfolding. Joseph's faith, integrity, and resilience had prepared him for this moment. By trusting God through every trial, Joseph found himself in a position to save not only Egypt, but also his family and others from starvation. Believers, this part of Joseph's life reminds us of an important truth. God's plans are far greater than our own. What may seem like delays or detours are often part of his preparation process. When we remain faithful, he will lead us to the roles and purposes that he has designed for us. Perhaps the most moving part of Joseph's story is the moment he reunites with his brothers. During the famine, his brothers come to Egypt seeking food, not realizing they're standing before the very brother they betrayed years earlier. Joseph wrestled with his emotions, but he ultimately chose forgiveness. He revealed his identity to his brothers with compassion, saying, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Genesis 50:20. Forgiveness is one of the hardest things to practice, yet Joseph's life shows us how freeing it can be. By letting go of anger and bitterness, Joseph was able to heal the brokenness in his family. For us as believers, forgiveness is a reflection of God's grace. Just as he forgives our sins, we are called to forgive others. It doesn't mean forgetting the hurt, but it does mean releasing it into God's hands and choosing mercy over resentment. The life of Joseph is filled with lessons that hold deep relevance for us today. Faith. No matter the circumstances, trust in God's promises and his plan. He is always working on our behalf, even when we can't see it. Resilience. When trials come, don't lose heart. Every challenge is an opportunity for growth and preparation for what God has in store. Integrity. Live a life that honors God's principles, even when it costs you personally. Integrity builds character and glorifies him. Forgiveness. Let go of bitterness and choose grace. Forgiveness doesn't excuse the wrongs done to us, but it allows us to move forward with peace in our hearts. As we reflect on Joseph's journey, we're reminded that God's purpose for our lives will always prevail. Though the road may be filled with struggles, he is weaving every detail together for our good and his glory. Joseph's life is a testimony to the power of faith, resilience, integrity, and forgiveness. It shows us that even in the hardest seasons, God is working behind the scenes to fulfill his plans for us. As you reflect on your own life, ask yourself, how can I trust God in my current situation just as Joseph did? Are there areas where I need to let go, persevere, or forgive? Believers, take heart. Your story is not over. The struggles you face today may be shaping you for something far greater than you can imagine. Trust in God's promises, hold firm to your faith, and walk forward with courage. Like Joseph, you are being prepared for a purpose greater than you could ever envision. Remember, what others mean for harm, God can use for good. Trust him. He is faithful. If you found inspiration in Joseph's journey, we encourage you to engage with our content. Please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and share it with others who may benefit from these powerful lessons. Together, let's continue to explore stories that inspire and uplift us on our own journeys. Thank you for watching.